Flamingo Series. Explore Your College 9. A Book of General Knowledge. Unit 3. Changed names of countries, state and cities. Old name. Changed name. Abyssinia. Answer. Ethiopia. Angora. Answer. Ankara. Batavia. Answer. Jakarta. Bechuanaland. Answer. Botswana. British Guiana. Answer. Guyana. Burma. Answer. Myanmar. Ceylon. Answer. Sri Lanka. Christina. Answer. Oslo. Congo. Answer. Zaire. Dhaka. Answer. Dhaka. Dutch East Indies. Answer. Indonesia. East Timor. Answer. Loro Sa. Ellis Islands. Answer. Tuvalu. Formosa. Answer. Taiwan. Gold Coast. Answer. Ghana. Greenland. Answer. Kalilig Nunat. Holland. Answer. The Netherlands. Kampuchea. Answer. Cambodia. Madagascar. Answer. Malagasy. Malaya. Answer. Malagasy. Manchukuo. Answer. Manchuria. Mesopotamia. Answer. Iraq. Nippon. Answer. Japan. Peking. Answer. Beijing. Persia. Answer. Iran. Rhodesia. Answer. Zimbabwe. Salisbury. Answer. Harare. Siam. Answer. Thailand. Ancient Greece and Roman Empire. Ancient Greece. Greek civilization grew out of the earlier cultures of Minoan Cretians and the Mycenaeans, a race of people who lived in what became Greece. By about 800 BC, the ideas of Greek scholars started to spread throughout the ancient world. Ancient Greece was divided into small, self-governing city-states, the most powerful of which were Athens and Sparta. The Parthenon was the most splendid temple in Athens, which was the leading city-state in ancient Greece. Coins were first used by the Lydians, who lived in what is now Turkey, sometime before 600 BC. The Greeks quickly adopted the use of coins for shopping and business. Famous people and their horses. Alexander the Great is known to have had a favorite horse, Bucephalus, but many other rulers had trusty steeds, too. Alexander the Great, Bucephalus, Ulysses S. Grant, Cincinnati, Duke of Wellington, Copenhagen, Caligula, Incitatus, Buffalo Bill, Isham, Buddha, Kanthaka, Jeroge Washington, Magnolia, Napoleon Bonaparte, Marengo, Robert E. Lee, Traveler, Richard III, White Surrey, the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire was the greatest that the world had ever seen at that time. By the 1st century AD, Roman rule extended over much of Europe, North Africa and the Near East. The Romans took their way of life and government wherever they wanted. They used their skill of developing central heating and running water, and also introduced their food and language, Latin, to every country they conquered. According to legend, Rome was founded in 753 BC by the twin brothers Romulus and Remus, who were said to have been brought up by a she-wolf by 550 BC. Rome was a large city that was ruled by Etruscan kings. In 509 BC, the Roman people drove out the kings and formed themselves into an independent republic. In 400 BC and 300 BC, Rome extended its power all over Italy. By 130 BC, Rome had built a mighty empire stretching from Spain to Turkey along the North African coast. Roman towns were the biggest and the most sophisticated towns that the world had seen. There were blocks of flats called insulae as well as luxurious houses. Greek and Roman gods and goddesses. God of Greek, Roman, agriculture, Cronus, Saturn. The dead, Thanatos, Mors, fire, Hephaestus, Vulcan, love, Eros, Cupid, the sea, Poseidon, Neptune, sleep, Hypnos, Somnus, the sun, Helios, Sol, wine, Dionysus, Bacchus, war, Ares, Mars, king of gods, Zeus, Jupiter, goddess of Greek, Roman, agriculture, Demeter, Ceres, the dawn, Eos, aurora, flowers, Hestia, flora, health, Hygeia, Salis, hunting, Artemis, Diana, love, Aphrodite, Venus, the moon, Selene, Luna, peace, Irene, Pax, motherland, Rhea, Ops, queen of gods, Hera, Juno, words and writing. Words have played a vital part in the development of civilization. Picture symbols, written alphabet and spoken language based on sounds have all been used to communicate ideas, beliefs, histories, technologies and laws. Stories were told for thousands of years before they were written down. They were memorized, then passed on from one generation to the next by word of mouth. Some of the earliest stories were epic long tales, recited as poetry that told the adventures of revered heroes and leaders from the distant past. Some of the earliest stories were based on religious beliefs or some were warning against possible risks of a work to be done, themes or moral. Storytellers would sing, dance, use gestures and make dramatic sounds to make their recitals interesting. Spoken tales were full of exciting events, strong characters with practical wisdom, humor, romance and suspense were used to draw the listener's attention. Earliest stories aimed at giving guidelines to young people as to how they should behave. The ancient stories encouraged adults, who heard them, to live up to the great exploits of the heroes in epic tales. Writing allowed stories and other kinds of information to be stored and read later by others. The world's earliest writing was invented in Mesopotamia, Iraq, around 3400 BC. At first, it was used to make lists and keep records of goods and accounts by the government, tax collectors and merchants. Early writing used picture symbols. Each symbol stood for one item, such as a cow or a tree. Later, around 1000 BC, scribes in Phoenicia invented an alphabet, a system of writing in which each symbol stood for one sound. At present, most languages use alphabets. There were 16 letters, called runes, in the Viking alphabet. They were used for labeling valuable items with the owner's name, recording accounts, keeping calendars and for sending messages. From top left, these symbols stand for the sounds FUTHARKHNIASTBMLR. Ancient legends from Britain and France tell us about King Arthur and his knights. These tales of heroic deeds, love and Christian values are not just exciting stories, but they also apprise us of the social and economic condition of the society at that time. Alphabets were simpler to use than picture writing. They were also easier to learn. Sound-based alphabets consisted of 22 symbols and can be traced back to the Phoenicians, who lived in words and writing Lebanon in ancient times. The ancient Egyptians invented a system of writing that used more than 800 symbols. It was called hieroglyphs, or sacred writing, because it was used to write religious texts on temple walls. Over the centuries, people have used many different writing materials. The first scribes, trained writers, in Mesopotamia used pointed sticks to make marks on wet clay slabs and cylinders. Ancient Egyptians made sheets of papyrus, an early kind of paper, from reed plants that grew by the river Nile. Chinese and Japanese people wrote with delicate brushes. Japanese writing is based on the Chinese system. The oldest form of writing is used today. The Rhymes of Robin Hood, first written down around 1350 AD, describe the adventures of an English outlaw who hid in the woods. With his band of merrymen and girlfriend, Maid Marian, Robin Hood robbed the rich and helped the poor. Animal world. Animals have been divided into different categories depending on their characteristics. Let's know about some of the categories of animals and record breakers in them. Mammals. There are about 6,495 species of mammals alive today. Mammals are those animals which give birth to young ones of their kinds, have hairy bodies, a large brain and special mammary glands for feeding their young ones with milk. Human beings too are mammals. The biggest mammal. The biggest mammal is the blue whale, which can grow up to 108 feet long and weigh up to 209 tons. The biggest land mammal. The biggest land mammal is the African bush elephant, which can grow up to 13 feet in height and weigh up to 13.25 tons. The tallest mammal. The tallest animal is the giraffe, which can grow over 20 feet in height. The smallest mammal. The smallest mammal is the bumblebee bat of Thailand, which weighs under 0.07 ounces. The smallest land mammal. The smallest land mammal is the Etruscan shrew, which is under 2 centimeters long. The fastest sprinting land mammal. The fastest land mammal is the cheetah, which can reach 62 miles per hour for short bursts. Giraffe bumblebee bat. The fastest land mammal. The fastest running land mammal over sustained distance is the North American pronghorn antelope, which can run at more than 35 miles per hour for over 4 miles. Reptiles. It is believed that reptiles evolved around 340 million years ago. Reptiles have a scaly skin and lay their eggs on land. They are cold-blooded animals, i.e., they cannot maintain the temperature of their bodies. Changes according to the temperature around them. They control their temperature by moving between hot and cool places. Reptiles include lizards, snakes, crocodiles, alligators, tortoise and turtles. The largest reptile. The largest reptile is the crocodile of Southeast Asia, which can grow up to 16.5 feet in length. The biggest lizard. The biggest lizard is the Komodo dragon, which grows to a length of 10 feet and weighs around 70 kilograms. The longest snake. The longest snake may be the reticulated python, which can grow over 30 feet long. The most poisonous snake. The most poisonous snake is the marine cobra of the Western Pacific. Insects. Insects are tiny creatures having 6 legs and a body that is divided into 3 parts: head, thorax, middle, and abdomen. All insects have certain features in common. On the head are eyes, mouthparts, and a pair of antennae or feelers. Most, though not all, insects have wings. Till today, around 1 million species of insects are known. The fastest flyer. The fastest flyers in the insect world are dragonflies, which can fly up to a speed of 90 kilometers per hour when in pursuit of their meal. The longest insect. The longest insect is stick insect, which can grow up to 15.75 inches long. The loudest insect, male cicadas, like crickets, rub their abdomens so loudly that they can be heard from a distance of 1,300 feet. The largest butterfly, the Queen Alexandra's birdwing of Papua New Guinea, can be up to 1 foot across. Birds probably evolved from dinosaurs. The earliest known fossil of a bird is 150 million years old. Birds are the only creatures which have feathers on their body. Birds are warm-blooded animals. Their feathers keep them warm and help them to fly. They walk on their 2 back legs, while their front limbs become wings. All birds lay eggs, and all birds' bodies are strong but light, ideal for flying, though not all birds fly. The longest wingspan. The wandering albatross of the southern oceans has the longest wingspan, with long, thin wings that can measure more than 3 meters from wingtip to wingtip. The biggest bird. The biggest bird is the ostrich, which grows up to 9 feet tall. The smallest bird. The smallest bird is the hummingbird, which is just 8.5 centimeters long. The biggest flying bird. The biggest flying bird is the Kori bustard, which can weigh up to 18 kilograms. It is about 4 feet in length and stands up to 3 feet tall. The fastest flyer. The fastest flyer is the peregrine falcon, which can fly up to 217 miles per hour. The most time in the air. No bird spends more time flying than the sooty term, which can remain in the air for 3 to 10 years. The highest flyer. The highest flight was by a Ruppel's vulture, which hit a plane at 37,000 feet. Printing and publishing. Until around 5 years ago, there were very few books. Most books were written by hand. They all were very expensive. Near about 1440 AD, a German inventor, Johannes Gutenberg, built a machine that could print books. This revolutionized the way books were produced, and made them available cheaply to many more readers. Gutenberg's machine was called a printing machine. Experienced workers assembled individual letters to make words and sentences, then locked these into place in a wooden frame called a form. The form was covered with a thin layer of ink. A sheet was laid on top of paper. It was pressed down hard with a wooden pad. The sheet was removed and hung up to dry. In about 1438, Johannes Gutenberg developed a way of printing using movable type. Gutenberg cast hundreds of individual metal letters in molds. Then he arranged these letters into pages of text, which he printed on a press, a far quicker method than woodblock printing. The first pages were produced in China soon after 800 AD. Once printed books became widely available after around 1600 AD. More people learned to read. Then newspapers, pamphlets, posters and songsheets were printed in large number. The best-selling book of all times is the Bible. Over centuries, about 6 billion copies of the Bible have been sold. Books, newspapers and magazines are produced by businesses known as publishing companies. Authors are the starting points for most books. Book illustrators are artists who specialize in turning ideas into visual printing and publishing images. They generally work on books of one particular kind. At a publisher's office, editors go through an author's text, correcting any errors, making suggestions for changes and questioning anything that is not clear. Once the text and pictures are ready, prepared pages are sent in electronic form to a reproduction house. They are made into color films, or processed by special computers linked directly to color printers. Modem printers are very fast and usually print 112 pages at a time on huge rolls of paper. The paper is then folded, cut, stitched and bound to publish.